was in a coma. I couldn't very well wake up and say, hey, take me to the next hospital.
A Madison woman faces possible bankruptcy over her health care bills, and her story could happen to anyone. We have the News 3 investigation coming up.
And more Beltline closures to share with you tonight before the morning commute.
Major snowfall expected in some parts of the state, but so far here in Wausau, just freezing temps and a whole lot of slush.
And good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Eric Frank.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Madison avoiding the brunt of the first round of winter weather in Wisconsin.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canulti joins us now with a look at what's coming our way in terms of this cold weather, Gary.
Well, the cold front is actually just moving through the Madison area as we speak. Temperatures are just starting to drop, but the heaviest snow by far has fallen in northwestern Wisconsin from about the Twin Cities and up into the Hayward area, where anywhere from 6 to 12 inches or more of snow has fallen. Lesser amounts to the southeast, even into the Wausau area, but even there, a couple of inches of snow fell, and temperatures are falling below freezing. Another round of snow is also across Minnesota and South Dakota, moving northeastward into western and northwestern Wisconsin, and this could bring additional snowfall accumulations, but right now that is to our west. We probably won't see rain or snow showers into our viewing area until late tonight, and then that will change over to light snow. Accumulations here in southern Wisconsin, probably less than an inch in most areas, but you can see perhaps an additional 3 to 5 or more inches of snow expected overnight into tomorrow morning for northern Wisconsin, where winter storm warnings remain in effect and winter weather advisories up into central Wisconsin. I'll have more details on weather in a few minutes.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. And our team coverage continues as we head up north.
We sent our own Leah Linscheid to Wausau, where folks are bracing for some snow tomorrow.
People preparing for Wisconsin's first snowfall may be a little disappointed here in Wausau. Now, it's been misting all night, but most of the accumulation came from snowfall this morning, with several car accidents being reported in the Wausau area. The temps here are pretty low, around 32 degrees, and they're expected to stay that way all night, but no significant snowfall expected until early morning. We spoke with some Wausau residents tonight who were expecting a little more from this snowstorm.
A little bit of a letdown. I was looking forward to the big first snowfall of the year. It was a little early this year, but I would have been okay with it. So
not ready, never ready. Last winter was brutal. I was hoping for not so much the same for this year, but it looks like it's going to be really icky.
I think we're going to last snow this year. I could see it.
And you're okay with that?
I am.
All right.
You live in Wisconsin. You got to expect it.
We also spoke with a local towing company who says all of their trucks have been out all day on calls. Their biggest concern tonight, any freezing rain that may develop. Reporting in Wausau, Leah Linscheid for WISC News 3.
All right, Leah, thank you for going up into those conditions. The DOT also watching the roads tonight. It labels main roads north of Wausau as ice covered, and the DOT even advising no travel on some roads in northwestern Wisconsin.
In Duluth, Minnesota, icy conditions led to a 16-car pileup. Now, this happened on one of Duluth's hills. It started when one car slid off the road, and then other cars followed as they tried to stop. We can tell you, though, no one was hurt.
And in the race against the impending weather, construction will shut down lanes in the Beltline tonight. The DOT announcing the closures this afternoon. Westbound lanes of the Beltline between Monona Drive and Fish Hatchery Road shut down at 7 and won't be open until 6 tomorrow morning. The DOT says you can expect some delays.
In other news, one person was injured in a shooting that happened in the middle of a Madison street. A witness telling police they heard multiple shots around 12:30 at the intersection of Hillcrest and Alden Drives. Now, that is on the city's west side, just north of Mineral Point Road. Witnesses say an SUV drove off. A 20-year-old man was shot. Police have no suspects at this time, but they say the shooting was targeted. A body was discovered in Lafayette County this morning. The sheriff's office believes it belongs to a man who went missing last month. The remains were found in a farm field in South Wayne. Authorities say the missing 30-year-old man was last seen about a mile from where the body was found today.
An Adams County man sentenced for sexually assaulting 5 children, Joey Hicks, sentenced to 75 years in prison. Those assaults date back to 1989. When handing down the sentence, the judge called Hicks, quote, a psychopath and a narcissist. And the man who masterminded the theft of that priceless violin will spend 7 years in prison. Salah Salahaddin had pleaded guilty to being party to a robbery last fall. A musician was attacked last winter and his Stradivarius violin was stolen. It was found several days later in good condition.
A week after losing to Scott Walker, Democrat Mary Burke sat down with News 3. She told our political reporter Jessica Arp she's still decompressing from the long campaign and says she isn't disappointed about the job that her staffers did. Burke also said she's stepping out of the political limelight.
So do you want to be a part of that discussion going forward, do you think?
I'm not going to be. I mean, I'm not going to run for statewide office again. I certainly am looking very seriously at running for school board again and just need a month or so to finalize that. And I'm certainly leaning very, very heavily towards that.
Burke is a member of the Madison School District Board. She also plans to stay involved with several other educational programs.
On the eve of Veterans Day, the new leader of the Department of Veterans Affairs is making some major changes. 3 months on the job now, VA Secretary Robert McDonald is starting the largest restructuring in history there. Changes include hiring a customer service officer, streamline services for vets, and get rid of some employees while hiring thousands more. Starting now, you can see just how much federal health care will cost you if you're planning to enroll through healthcare.gov. The website is offering an estimate into how much your 2015 premiums will be. Enrollment doesn't start until November 15th. The people behind the website say it's easier to use now compared to its launch last year, which was plagued with problems.
Next at 10, Meg Rothbauer was unconscious when she was brought to St. Mary's Hospital. Her insurance covered her at Meriter and the UW.
She's now facing crippling bills because of something she could not control. News 3 investigative reporter Adam Schrager discovered Megan did everything right, except she collapsed in the wrong place, Adam.
Eric and Michelle, we get a lot of email here at the station, but few start like Megan Rothbauer's did to us on September 4th. It read, 1 year ago today, I died of cardiac arrest at age 29. We cannot lose sight of the fact that Megan is alive today, but the quality of her life, and I'm not just talking about her physical health, but her financial health, the quality of her life has dramatically changed. And as we found out over the last couple of months, her situation could happen to any one of us.
On September 4th of 2013, I collapsed at work. My heart was stopped beating like it would normally do. It started shaking. It took them about 45 minutes to get my heart beating again.
The paramedics would take Megan Rothbauer to St. Mary's Hospital.
It was the closest hospital to where I had my event.
It's where she spent the next 10 days in a coma.
I had had a cardiac arrest.
And another 7 in the cardiac ward.
I owe part of my life to the doctors and nurses at St. Mary's Hospital.
But what she owes to the accounting department is why she's sharing her story.
I was in a coma. I couldn't very well wake up and say, hey, take me to the next hospital.
You see, that next hospital is Meriter. Its emergency room is 0.3 of a mile down Brook Street.
It's unfortunate that Meriter is in network and is only 3 blocks away from St. Mary's.
In network or covered by her insurance with a maximum copay of $1,500. The college accounting major knows the numbers are different out of network.
Currently, the bill is $52,000, $531.92.
0.3 of a mile never seemed so far away.
$1,500 versus $52,000.
My strong suspicion is that this happens more frequently than you might think.
Meg Gaines runs the Center for Patient Partnership at the University of Wisconsin. She says paramedics, not patients, often control healthcare decisions.
It is totally random, and it is the problem with saying, well, you know, consumers have to go to the right hospital, and you say, well, what if you're unconscious?
Gaines has seen kitchen tables like Megan's covered in bills and knows the frustration and confusion increases as fast as the amounts owed.
There's the cost, there's the price, there's the charge, there's the accepted payment. You know, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, how do you even know what's what in this world?
It doesn't just happen at St. Mary's. I'm sure it happens at Meriter. I'm sure it happens at the UW.
Sin Gunnelson worked with Megan to reduce her bill to St. Mary's by 90%.
Most of us would feel her pain receiving a huge dollar balance.
Megan's hospital bill started at $254,000, and that doesn't include the cost of the doctors and nurses, the ambulance, the physical therapist, and more. But Gunnelson says Megan's story is about more than money.
I can only do so much, and so can the hospital only do so much. And I think the best outcome is the person walked away from the emergency room.
Megan's insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield, places the blame for her situation on St. Mary's. In a statement, a spokesman wrote, "Since we have no contract with this hospital, we have very little influence over what the hospital is charging in this situation."
I owe them everything.
That's how Ben Johnson describes those who treated the woman he wants to marry. But the fact they can't get engaged while she faces possible bankruptcy leads to a different emotion.
Oh, I'm pissed off. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Megan Rothbauer wishes her fate were controlled by federal law, not Murphy's Law. 0.3 of a mile, $1,500, or $52,000 in bills. Her piles of bills may be organized, even if her life is not.
That's, I think, my hardest issue is I had no control, and I still have no control over what is my future.
So we've asked around, and there don't seem to be any statistics quantifying just how many people are impacted by this, but we know anecdotally, we've already heard from viewers commiserating, saying they'd experienced the same thing after just seeing the promotion for this story. Now, the Affordable Care Act did require emergency rooms to provide services to out-of-network patients, but it also clearly states patients are responsible for the difference between the bill and the amount that the insurance will cover. Eric and Michelle, it is called balance billing, and it's bound to be a problem going forward.
Boy, it is certainly eye-opening, and just like you said, anecdotally, we have a lot of people on Facebook already responding to this story as well. So, oh boy, thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Well, coming up, Gary will return. He'll have our complete forecast.
As we prepare for a cool down, lava continues to heat up Hawaii. An update on the situation out there when News 3 at 10 returns.
You're watching Eric Franke and Michelle Lee. Meteorologist Gary Canalti. And Jay Wilson with sports. This is News 3 at 10.
Alrighty then.
Perception
Thank you.
Because they have such a tiny market share. 80+.
Do you have any questions for Adam real quick?
Question? No.
Yeah. No.
You mean
Well, there he is right there, if you have a question.
No, I'd like to work with that woman.
You what?
I would love to work with that advocacy woman.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Where he would bill.
How cruel a fate would it have been if that woman who got the huge medical bill had had a heart attack just looking at it?
From looking at the bills? I know.
Yeah. I mean,
well, you know, Adam said on Facebook, so let me read what Adam said. Adam said, hard to like this story as I feel frustrated bringing up a problem without any clear solution. So alerting folks that this could happen to you and not having any way to prevent it doesn't leave a particularly good taste. So usually Adam has, you know, a solution or like some advice, but he doesn't have it in this case. So that is why it's kind of a scary situation. And
it is a scary situation. If she was a pulseless non-breather, which apparently she was, the protocol is to take her boom to the closest facility. And depending on your route into Madison, whichever one, and they won't deviate from it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to not talk over you. Yeah, we'll talk about this in a little bit, because I think it's really compelling and also just kind of scary.
I guess I don't understand how insurance or no insurance, any kind of treatment would be that expensive, ever.
Well, she was in the. How long was she in the hospital?
10 days.
How long was she in the hospital? Adam, how long was she in the hospital? 10 days.
In cardiac.
Okay.
Sorry, I've already taken off the time.
No. 10 days she was in a coma. So I mean that you can see why that would be.
Well, I can tell you about that medically induced coma too. That's a thing in itself.
Well, you'd have to make that everywhere.
And see, Eric's wife works. Eric has family who works at the hospital, so they have a lot of questions.
30 seconds.
Straight to the funeral home.
It depends how you fill in the death calculator. Remember?
Well, that's one thing.
Gary just asked us where we would send him if he had a heart attack.
I have WA.
I know a really good vet clinic.
How many vacation days do you have?
We'll pick this up in a second. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
I prefer to go Merida because my sister-in-law.
Okay, we'll take a look. Lava flowing on Hawaii's Big Island destroyed a home today. Look at those flames. The house's renters had already cleared out. That was some good news there. Firefighters let the home burn but fought any fires that could threaten nearby buildings. The leading edge of the lava is less than 500 feet from the main road that goes into a town on the Big Island.
And all we have to worry about is winter storms, right? That lava
I guess
flow
I'll take the winter storms.
Yeah, well, I would, because you're not going to move the lava, that's for sure. But around here, we're going to be dealing with colder weather. And this is Winter Weather Awareness Week. This is the time that you really should put a winter weather survival kit together, because even if you're at home, the possibility exists, especially during the winter, that the power could fail when you do have a strong winter storm. So at home, you want to have at least 3 days supply of food and water. Make sure you have extra medicine for your family members, a heating source, not something that you burn inside, fire extinguisher, weather radio, flashlight, batteries, and a carbon monoxide detector. Very important, especially if you're using some kind of a space heater. And if you're on the road, you want to have this in your car. You want to make sure you have a shovel, extra clothes, scraper, blanket, some sand in case you get stuck in ice, heat packs if you're stuck for a while, food, water, flashlight, a charged phone, and only travel if necessary. That's the main rule, and stay in your vehicle if you do get stuck until help arrives. Don't try to drive out. Now, in northwestern Wisconsin, another round of snow is heading into an area that already picked up between 6 and 12 inches of snow overnight. And super resolution snowfall potential shows perhaps another 3 to 5 inches of snow, maybe up toward Rhinelander, around 8 more inches. And then you get into Marquette, Michigan, and the heavy lake effect snows will start kicking in off of Lake Superior, and they could see perhaps an additional 1.5 feet or more of snow. This is the live view from our tower cam looking toward the south, toward Verona. Kind of hazy tonight, and that's because the cold front has come through the area. The high today 57, the low 35, but right now we're at 43. And notice the winds now out of the north at 12 miles per hour. The cold front through the area. So Madison's dropped to 43. Janesville still at 55. Rockford at 52. But to the north and west, those temperatures are below freezing, and they're even getting some reports of freezing drizzle mixed in with the snow up there. But a second round of snow back to the west. That's this area here. It's moving through South Dakota and Nebraska. Will move eastward. The main part of the storm will head almost right over southern Wisconsin and then head to the north and east. So that'll take the bulk of the heavier precipitation up to the north. We've been in the warm air sector all day, but as this cold front sweeps on through, that's when the colder air will come in. And here's the latest map. You can see that front right through the area, and those temperatures really dropping out to the west. They go from the almost near 60 across Illinois back into the single digits and teens across the Dakotas, where wind chills now are running in the single digits and teens below zero. So very cold weather there. The bulk of the heavier snow staying up to the north, but again, light rain and snow showers early in the morning will change to snow showers and flurries, and then it's just the cold air that comes in pretty much for the rest of the week and into next week. So overnight, mostly cloudy, rain or snow showers well north and west of Madison toward morning, low dropping to 35. Tomorrow, only go up a couple degrees to 37. It'll be windy with falling temperatures to the low 30s, and the mix will change to light snow and flurries. As we look at super resolution future track, you can see that colder air coming in, the rain and snow showers gradually changing over to snow showers and flurries. Those temperatures continue to fall. By late in the day, they're already in the 20s. Then as we start clearing out tomorrow night, we drop into the upper teens to around 20 by early on Wednesday morning. And Wednesday will be a blustery cold day with high temperatures only in the mid to upper 20s. Snowfall amounts probably an inch or less from Madison on toward the north and west, maybe an inch or two as you get closer toward La Crosse, maybe up toward Boston or so. The 7-day forecast, though, look at these low temperatures, or high temperatures. They look like low temperatures. Upper 20s to around 30, nighttime low temperatures in the teens. We'll probably be looking at wind chills by Wednesday morning close to zero as blustery conditions move on through, and some flurries Thursday and some snow showers late Saturday into early Sunday, and then again Monday.
I wish those were low temperatures instead of high temperatures.
Yeah, I kind of get fooled by after seeing such a mild day like this.
When you change it from windy to blustery, we're in trouble on the graphic.
Well,
it's going to be cold, flat out.
Call it as I see it.
Gary, thanks. Gary. The president weighs in on the future of the internet.
We'll see where he stands on net neutrality, plus the post office, the latest victim of hackers, which customers may be at risk, next at 10.
The Packers and Bears are heading in two different directions, and you can hear it in their voices. The story is coming up in sports.
Oops, I cut that off a little bit short.
You look intact. Nick?
Huh?
Okay. Must not have been.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting part.
How'd you break your neck?
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I'm breaking up.
Who's breaking up? Did you see that the Postal Service has been hacked? That's another story today. They've been hacked. Who hasn't been hacked?
Yep.
That's the question.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah.
Is it controversial? Should the post office just be privatized?
I don't think it's controversial. I think it's a question.
For full disclosure, my grandfather was a postal carrier. But you get a lot in your mailbox that matters?
No, I get a lot of junk mail. What do you guys get?
Junk mail.
Magazines. I still get magazines and bills.
Yeah. Bills. Yep.
I get a lot of offers for credit card companies.
I got a lot of political ads in the last month. That's about all I got for about a 4-day stretch. Most of my bills, I've opted for no paper bills.
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't like my desk getting littered with junk.
Do you think the Postal Service should be privatized?
Or phased out?
Or phased out?
No.
No.
Even though you just said you get junk?
Well, you still need to get those things, but I wonder what about phasing out delivery?
I mean, I get things that aren't junk, and I mean, if someone wants to send me something, I would be able to get.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to be able to get paper checks for things.
Yeah.
Like I just got
and letters and other old-fashioned things like that, but they're still nice to get.
Postcards. I just got a postcard.
Birthday cards. Christmas cards, birthday cards.
Birthday cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Maybe Hallmark should subsidize the post office. I don't think they're making a lot of money.
I'll tell you what, my great aunt died 2 years ago, and she still gets more mail than anyone in the family. We have.
Yeah.
I just opened up something addressed to my mother today, and she's been dead for 4 months. And it was kind of important.
I get a lot of the people who lived before me in my house. I get their mail a lot.
I get mail from my ex-husband, and we've been divorced since '92.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but you like that.
Fruitcakes, Linda.
3 years.
Fruitcakes.
Okay, I'm muting.
Okay.
First, a slew of stores were hacked.
Yeah, well, now the post office has fallen victim. Hackers broke into the post office's computer system, affecting nearly 3 million customers. Folks who contacted the customer care center by phone or email between January and August are now at risk. Also stolen Social Security numbers, addresses, and birthdays on 750,000 employees and retirees.
Well, we're on your side with a major step forward in the battle over net neutrality. President Obama putting out a public statement taking a firm stance.
Yeah, he's calling on the Federal Communications Commission to institute regulations that will ensure internet speeds will stay the same for everybody.
The FCC is an independent agency, and ultimately this decision is theirs alone. But the public has already commented nearly 4 million times, asking the FCC to make sure that consumers, not the cable company, gets to decide which sites they use.
The chairman of the FCC put out a statement saying the president's statement is a welcome addition to the net neutrality debate, but added the SEC needs more time before any decisions are made.
Now some new words for you. The president laying out rules. He'd like the FCC to consider them. Among them, no blocking. If the content is legal, your internet provider should not be allowed to block it. No throttling. Now, what that means is internet providers should not be allowed to slow down content, and no paid prioritization. No website should be stuck at the so-called slow lane because it does not pay a fee. I'll stay with us. The Badger football team's winning streak, it'll be put to the test this week. Jay previews the big showdown with Nebraska coming up.
A 1986.
Oh,
there's a big every year we have different stories about what the big debt is of the annual operations of the Postal Service, which I believe is due in large part to pension obligations.
Oh.
And I think.
Can you hear Eric?
Of course.
And
We can hear you.
I think maybe the one thing they could do is maybe they could say, we're going to keep hiring people, but you don't get the same benefit. I don't know. Maybe they've done that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't get the same pension benefits as grandfathered in employees. You know what I'm saying? Because that pension, I mean, you know who would know? It'd be Chris, Jen, our former producer, Jen's husband. He's a postal carrier.
But I don't know. You know, I remember when I was a little kid, someone was like, "You should be a postal carrier. They make so much money and they have good benefits."
I just remember my
I don't know if
grandfather
that's
was
true.
always very, very. Now he died when I was very young, but he was very tan. He was all in the summer. He was a walking carrier.
Jen's husband's always tan.
Yeah,
He's
he's
very
tan now.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
it's
tan now.
November. He was here on Halloween.
And he has nice legs.
He said, "I think this is windburn." He said, "Well, I said, man, you still look like you got your summer color."
My mail carrier, who normally comes to our house, is a woman, and she has some very nice toned calves, I've noticed.
Now, our female carrier who has done our neighborhood for many years is always so nice. She always had a biscuit for our dog if I'm outside with him.
And does Tate not go nuts? Or
Well, he's got a fence, so
Oh,
an
he
invisible
can't
fence,
go,
he can't get all the way to her. So she'll throw it to him, and he'll catch it. He likes her when he sees the car pull up. He
my
likes
dogs
it.
don't get it. My dogs don't. You want the
No.
rundown for sports?
Most mail carriers are afraid of
That would be nice.
Okay. Mike McCarthy is the first one, so do you think we can air that?
Probably not the VO.
Probably not the video, but you can air his interview.
Okay.
And then Bears is coming up next.
That's probably not video. You
Probably
can air.
not video you can air.
Okay.
What's Speak?
Speak is probably Tressman or somebody's talking. Right?
You can probably air that soundbite.
Just no VOs on any
Just
games.
no,
right, Jay?
none of the video. And then Badgers, can we show Badgers?
No, probably not.
Can't show
Badgers
Badgers.
video on web either. So, and probably not LeBron either.
Dang it. How about this? You can show the interviews. So you know how we do like,
A lot of times the interviews have sport clips mixed in with them.
Yeah.
don't show anything. Don't.
Okay, I won't show.
They can show
Sorry,
soccer.
YouTube. You won't hear about Wisconsin sports tonight.
You can show soccer.
Do they at least get audio of him when they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say hi to ADCJ over there in the little bitty corner. Right
Jordan
there.
made this for me at dinner tonight.
You go be the corner.
Bracelet. Look at Eric's bracelet, you guys.
It's one of those rainbow looms. Jordan had it like 2 years ago. He just started making it for me again.
Okay, I'll be back.
Made one for his sitter and his mom.
It's remarkable how different talk radio was in Wisconsin and Chicago today. In Wisconsin, the Packers are going to the Super Bowl. In Chicago, they're calling it a Lambeau bleep. The Bear-Packer game was certainly a spectacle on Sunday Night Football, but for drama and excitement, it was neither dramatic nor terribly exciting, unless, of course, you're a Packer fan. 55-14. Aaron Rodgers threw 6 touchdown passes in the first half to tie an NFL record. This season, Rodgers has 25 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. Today, Mike McCarthy was asked to compare Rodgers to Joe Montana as far as football intelligence.
I'm not going to do a comparable between Joe Montana and anybody. It's not fair to, I'm not qualified to do that, frankly. That's how I feel about it. But, Aaron's, the offense Aaron plays in today is different than the offenses back then. Clearly, I think the strength of any successful quarterback is his mental and emotional gifts, and Aaron's definitely at the highest level.
Oh, yeah, Chicago. There are a lot of long faces on that Bears sideline last night. There have been calls to have head coach Mark Trestman be fired. Some Bears fans want to fire the whole team and get new guys in there. The Bears have looked awful the last 3 weeks, and Trestman knows the fans are putting on the heat.
I can understand that our fan base is extremely upset at the circumstances our football team is in right now. I totally understand that. I understand that they're passionate about this football team, and they want to see us move forward and get better. They don't want to see us in this state.
I think he means Illinois. The big games are finally here. The Badger football team plays Nebraska Saturday. They're at Iowa, then home against Minnesota. That stretch will determine the success of the season. Saturday's showdown with the Cornhuskers starts at 2:30 at Camp Randall. The winner of that game will have the inside track to the Big Ten West Division title and a berth in the conference championship game.
It's Nebraska. It's going to be a big game, and I think you can't really focus on other things besides what in between the white lines. You know, the scheme of things, and you can't let the game get too big. And I don't think we will.
I'm excited, because like I said, this is going to determine if we, can place ourselves to be Big Ten champions, and that's been that's the ultimate goal, is to win your conference. So it's going to be some exciting games, these last 3 weeks.
And Wisconsin-Nebraska is now a trophy game. The Freedom Trophy goes to the winner Saturday, and every time hence the Badgers face the Cornhuskers, the Freedom Trophy pays tribute to both football programs' rich history and to pay tribute to our nation's veterans and servicemen and women. Badger women's soccer team will host a first-round NCAA tournament game Saturday evening. Wisconsin is the 4th seed in its bracket. They'll face Big East champion DePaul at the McClymonds Complex Saturday night at 7:30. And all that panic about the slow start, about LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, forget about it. People in Cleveland were freaking out about a 1-3 start, but after the Cavs beat New Orleans tonight, the Cavs have won 2 in a row to get back to 500. LeBron James had 32 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. RELAX. We'll be right back.
Oh, well, okay.
Kicker's dead. We only have 20 left. This is for Gary. After this, I want to ask you guys some questions.
Okay. You're going to make us think, huh?
Yeah. Not really, actually. I actually just have some questions. Have you guys ever been to Arizona?
Yes.
You're a trip. You better watch it.
I know. I'm just asking. Who are you?
You're gonna ruin the surprise.
I can't help it. Have you ever been to Arizona?
Yeah. Gary's been everywhere.
That's true.
I was in a weather conference there in 1986. I was there in 93 the first time for spring training, and then I was there in 98 for a weather conference.
Did you go to
Were you there for
in Peoria?
Oh, Mesa. Hohokam.
Oh.
Hohokam Park.
Oh, Hohokam Park.
That's where the Cubs have spring training.
Not anymore.
Teresa, do you have any questions for Gary?
That's where I went.
For Gary. Nope.
Senior in high school. No. My neighbor was a huge Cub fan. They'd go to spring training every year.
Hey, Scott, are you there?
Hey, nice. I like that beer.
Chicago Bear?
Yeah.
Cubs beer in there.
I knew you would. That's why I Scott said, was there actually any video worth showing for the Bears game? No, was there actually any video for the Bears game? I said, not if you were a Bears fan.
Exactly.
I think the pregame highlights were... It was really sad, though. I mean, the fact... And Trustman sounds like he's crying when he's talking, too. He talks about how well they practice.
How what?
How well they
practice.
That to me, that's it. He's done.
Gosh, that counts.
It's the fact that
Gary's a big Chicago fan.
Well, they'd have to be some pretty fair weather fans to be screaming.
About the organization.
Yeah, that's true. Gary loves Chicago. Gary loves the Cubs. He's from Chicago. No, that's what she. Hold on. Be back in a second.
Well, there's the 7-day forecast. Falling temperatures from a morning high of 37, mixed changing to snow tomorrow, and then for the weekend, even blustery and colder. High 33 Saturday, 29 Sunday. Maybe some snow showers on Saturday night and Sunday too. Just for good weather.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, folks, for Newsweek today.
Okay.
Okay.
We're done. Nick, where were you tonight? Early.
I was watching The Blacklist.
Oh, was it good?
Last show of the season, or at least until February. They only did a half season.
Do you like the show?
Yes, I do.
What's so compelling about it?
The character development in it is extremely compelling. Which is crazy because two of my favorite shows are Orphan Black and The Blacklist. But But they both have amazing characters in them. And the Blacklist.
Orange is the new black?
What?
Did you say Orange is the new black?
No, Orphan Black.
Oh.
Mad.
On BBC America.
The new black. Your mom lets you watch that?
Oh my god.
I remember. What do you not?
I'm gonna move you guys into the newsroom.
No, I don't even have Netflix, so.
Every night, Gary and Eric do this.
It wasn't Chicago.
Talk about sports every night. Every night.
They should have your own sports show.
I know. They could do like their own like weather chat.
Desk jockey and weatherman talk sports.
Say hi, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
Wow.
Hi, Hannah.
Hannah, I tried your Elmer's glue recipe. Thanks for that.
Come here. Nick has something to say to you. What? For real. Come here. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, Nick.
Hey, you shared the recipe for Elmer's glue yesterday and advised people to put it on their faces. That was awesome. That gelatin and milk.
Did you do it? Did you do that? Yeah. Nick,
Yeah,
read your stuff.
That's Elmer's glue. What?
Elmer's glue has to have more than just gelatin and milk in it.
No, it doesn't. That's why there's a cow on the label.
I don't believe you.
Okay, they put white pigment in too.
Wow, cynical.
I don't
Oh,
believe you.
cynical. Let me stay on YouTube for a couple minutes and then we'll talk. Hold on. Let me get my... I gotta adjust for a second. Can you get me back online? Back on the broadcast?
We're on the broadcast. Oh, okay. That one.
My other me.
This doesn't like to work for... Oh, there we go. It's working now.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, myself twice. Hold on.
And you'll be in stereo probably for a second.
You had Matt over taste for them, right?
Wait, what? Did you just black yourself out?
Yeah, I did. Is that bad?
Gotcha. No, that's not bad. I just didn't know what happened.
Okay.
Oh, that was gross.
So what did you guys think of Adam's story?
That was when Peyton won.
Is Linda... Yeah. No, I had a friend who like took an ambulance because he like passed out or something, and I swear his ambulance ride was like several $1,000s. Maybe it was only $2,000. Maybe it was $2,000. Maybe it was $5,000. I can't really remember. But I will say again, Adam felt really bad because he didn't have any solutions to that issue. But Eric was saying that St. Mary's has worked really well with that woman. It's not St. Mary's fault. It's just the nature of the business, so to speak, I guess.
No, but I've covered.
But why is that the nature of a business? Since when is that okay? I mean, how long have they been like robbing people like that? Because some of these building departments, it seems like they have a roulette wheel that they use to determine the price of your treatment.
Well, I mean, I think some people would say it's the insurance, you know, like she paid a premium to her insurance company for however long. You know, you pay X amount of dollars a month to your insurance, and you would expect your insurance to kind of foot the bill, you know, or make up the difference or something.
But why would the hospitals be feeding the insurance companies that amount? I mean, that's just...
Teresa, can you chime in? Do you know?
It's an HMO thing, a primary care provider, HMO. If you go outside of your network, you're doomed. They just don't care. If you're outside of your network, it doesn't matter.
They can charge you however much they want. I mean, what if they charged you twice as much?
Well, they can do that.
Just because they wanted to. I mean,
yeah, a mammogram can cost $200 or $800. All depends.
If you ever look at the if you ever look at the ELBs, the explanation of benefits from your doctors, you'll see that they get such a little. And I'm just talking about Medicare.
Right.
They get such very little amount from Medicare that they have to charge an exorbitant amount to begin with, in order to get the small percentage that they do get from Medicare.
I think
Well, same
Medicare, they only get like 29 cents on the dollar or something.
It's ridiculous. That's why so many doctors are not taking Medicare patients anymore. So where does that leave? You know. But with my mother is going to be 95 next year. This was 2 years ago, and she hurt her. She fell in the house, and she busted the back right behind her knee. She busted that part of her leg, and it was, you know, that artery there, that vein rather, and it wouldn't stop bleeding. Mother has legs that look like chickens, and she couldn't get it to stop bleeding, so she called me to come and get her. And I said, no, you just go ahead and call the ambulance because, you know, I would not be able to drive and put pressure on her leg and all that stuff. So I said, I'll just meet you at the hospital. Well, by the time the ambulance got there, she could walk. She was bleeding, but she could walk. And so she walked out to the ambulance, got in, and took her to the hospital and got her all fixed up, and I brought her home. Well, she got the bill from the hospital for the ambulance for $750. And I called the hospital and said, wait, you know, her secondary insurance paid this. And they said they checked the code on it, and the code was coded ambulatory patient. And an ambulatory patient does not need emergency vehicles. So I told them the situation, and she said, well, the fact is that she walked to the you know, to the ambulance. So put a claim in, never heard anything from it, probably never will. Every now and then I kind of, you know, jiggle their little nerdy ears, but that is ridiculous. So the takeaway from that story is, if you ever call EMS, if you're ever involved with an emergency vehicle, you get on that gurney and ride. Because if you don't, they'll code you as ambulatory. You'll have to pay.
That's true.
And yes, the EMT people, it's not up to them to tell you this, but, you know, it could have been, they could strongly have suggested that she do so. They may have known that, they probably did not know that Mama had never ridden an ambulance before in all of her 93 years. I mean, they look at her and they think, well, she's probably done this before, but she had not. So it was just, it's still eating at her.
I mean, what good is surviving something if you're going to bleed your bank account to death?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The only thing about this $52,000 bill or whatever that woman has is that, you know, she can make payments on it for the rest of her life. If it's like the hospital here, the minimum payment used to be $25, and now I understand it's $150, which is not attainable for a lot of people on a fixed income especially. But if you pay just what you can pay, and they will continue to bill you and continue to give you nasty letters and all. But unless you're going to buy a house or something like that, you don't have to worry about that medical bill. So by the time you're on Medicare, you probably are not going to purchase another home. So my whole thing there is pay them $10 a month and tell them to like it or lump it.
The only silver lining to that is that you don't have to pay interest. It's just so you can take years and years to pay for it, but it's not going to go up because you're taking your. It's not much of a silver lining, but it is one.
Medicine is it's not any good anymore. It really is not.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, I think, to me, I just keep looking at the figure. You know, if you're talking about a $1,500 difference or a $50,000 difference, it makes my stomach turn, you know. That's just nuts. But I don't get, okay, so Linda, can you clarify, because I was kind of doing a couple of things at once. So when you say ride the gurney and being ambulatory, like what is, can you explain it one more time, like what that means?
Well, you know the stretcher that they bring to put you on, to put you in the ambulance? That's the gurney. Get on it and let them put you in the ambulance on that stretcher.
Yep.
Mother walked to the ambulance and walked into the back of the ambulance and sat on the gurney.
Yep.
She did not, in other words, all they basically did is what they're saying. All they basically did was they gave her a ride to the hospital.
A really expensive taxi ride.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary for her to ride in an ambulance because she could get in get in and she was okay. But there were 4 people in there that were hooking her up with IVs, putting pressure on the bleed, and that kind of thing. Excuse me.
Sorry, Linda. Sorry, but if she but if she would have let them take her instead of walking up, how would that have changed?
She would have been in need of a stretcher.
Okay, so it would have changed her bill.
She would not have been able to walk because her leg was bleeding to death.
But wouldn't she still have a big bill from that?
No.
That's what I don't understand. No, you wouldn't? Okay.
No, because it would be a necessary transport. It would be necessary to transport her by picking her up, putting her on the stretcher to get her into the whole thing is getting her into the ambulance.
Right.
If she's able to get herself into the ambulance, which she did, then she could get herself into, like Nick says, a taxi or my car or any car. So therefore, that trip was uncalled for. It was not necessary.
If she had
according
stayed
to them
in her house and they had to pick her up, then it would have been paid for.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, I see. Okay, that makes sense. I guess I was confused because I was thinking that even with Adam's story today, the woman, like the part of her bill was her ambulance ride. Because I've had friends I had a friend who took an ambulance and he had to pay like a lot of money. It was more than $750. I know it was, but I don't remember what it was. I mean, it was something ridiculous. But maybe I'm getting a couple of things confused, too. But here's my question. So Adam says he doesn't have any advice, but do you have any advice on what you're supposed to do? Like if the ambulance takes you to the hospital that you're not covered, like what do you think the layperson would say to another layperson? Like what would you say to your friend on what to do? I mean, in her case, it's different because she was 10 days in a coma, but I mean, what do you do?
Well, in my mother's case, it didn't matter which hospital because, we only have 2, and they're both connected. But they were going to take her to New Hanover, and I told her to tell them to take her to Cape Fear because you get into the emergency room there, more quickly. Unless you have a heart problem or something, you can't go to Cape Fear with a heart problem. But anyway, I would, as far as being in network, as long as you're able to communicate that with whomever is taking you, then you've got it knocked. But that woman was in a coma. I think they should have allowed something for that.
I guess I'm just confused because you would think that they would know she's not in network, right? I mean, don't you think that somehow they would know that? That's where I guess I'm a little confused.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If she just gets out a Blue Cross Blue Shield card, they don't know what's covered and what's not.
Yeah.
Again, pulseless non-breather, they're going to take her to the closest facility.
Mm-hmm. And that's it.
What?
They take you to the closest facility.
Yeah. Unless she had an advocate there at work, and it sounds like she didn't, because if somebody pushes hard enough and says she's not covered, it's 0.3 of a mile further, take her to Meriter. But nobody, you get into that situation and everybody forgets about the money.
Right.
They think you got to save the life. Well, 0.3 of a mile wasn't going to make much of a difference in her condition. It just wasn't. They were already sustaining her life. They were breathing for her. They were pumping on her chest, assuming they hadn't gotten a rhythm back yet. If she said it took 45 minutes to get her rhythm back, to get her heart to beat again. So it's hard to know where that happened, if they did that all on site, or if her heart stopped again during transport, in which case they pulled over to the side of the road and did CPR again, and then continued on their way. Was her ambulance bill paid for?
I don't know that. Yeah, I'd have to ask Adam.
Ambulance bill should have been paid for, because the destination doesn't matter. That was clearly unnecessary ambulance trip.
Yeah. It's just very strange. My mom she just messaged me on Facebook earlier, and she said that my dad's friend had a heart attack, was taken to the hospital, that didn't take his insurance, but luckily his doctor moved him to a different hospital. So that's all you're waiting for, is that maybe your doctor or someone knows, like, hey, you're not covered, this is out of network, so we're going to move you because now you're stable enough to be moved. I mean, that's really the only thing that you can hope for, unless you have a spouse or someone who can, or an advocate who can.
Have to have an advocate. Yeah.
You do. You have to have an advocate for every medical anything you've got.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I'll tell you is that before you can go from the hospital to a rehab or to a nursing home or whatever, you have to be an inpatient 72 hours.
Right.
And it's got 72 hours. If it's 71 hours, it does not count.
Right.
You go to that rehab and you pay for it. But if you've been an inpatient for 72 hours, you go right from the hospital to the rehab, and it's paid for the first, whatever it is, 90 days or whatever. But they don't tell you that. They expect people to know that, and old people don't know those things. That's why it is important that you have an advocate. Any type of health care.
Everybody needs an advocate.
Yeah. How do you know all that stuff, Linda? I mean, just through experience, or just how do you know all that stuff?
I go to support groups, you know. I go to Alzheimer and dementia support groups and caregivers conferences and anything else, because I have a 95-year-old mother. I have to know these things.
Ooh, I like how proactive you are. That's pretty great.
Oh yeah, I've been going to caregiver support groups since my grandmother was 95.
Wow.
And that was in 1995. Because the healthcare changes so much, and you just have to be on top of it. If you're gonna, I mean, I'm the one that's gonna have to take care of them. So.
Who's gonna take care of you? Who's your advocate?
Katie and Wanda. It would not be my mother. No.
Oh man.
I do have two friends that would be my advocates.
If you moved to Madison, I could be your advocate.
You could just make me some kimchi, and that would heal me.
Yeah. Well, it is pretty, strong. So.
Okay, well, I have imparted all of my knowledge tonight.
I'm gonna get us off YouTube so we can talk for a couple more minutes. But we had a good conversation. We had a lot of viewers in there too. So a lot of conversation on Facebook as well. So, all right. Okay, you guys. I will see you on Wednesday for our next hangout. I think on Friday we should do a fun hangout. But that's just my thought. No fun here. Oh.
No, you can do
no fun allowed.
No fun allowed. Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. All right. Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.